Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. Today on the program, survey firm Pulse Asia defends itself over alleged flaws in its pre-election survey methods and insists they are also capturing the sentiments of voters who do not join campaign rallies. Religious group Iglesia ni Cristo announced it is endorsing the Marcos-Duterte tandem, but some of the church's members say they will defy the endorsement. And candidates are making their final pitch to voters as decision day nears. Leni Robredo spokesperson Barry Gutierrez and Aksyon Demokratiko chairman Ernest Ramel join us live. Polling firm Pulse Asia insists that the results of its pre-election surveys are representative of the entire country. That's after a former national statistician pointed out some flaws in Pulse Asia's sampling methods. Bongbong Marcos still leads the final pre-election survey, followed by Vice President Leni Robredo by a wide margin. But the Robredo camp sees her numbers as encouraging, even if the survey does not yet capture their massive rallies and intensified house-to-house campaigns in late April. Let's go straight to the source of the story. Vice President Leni Robredo's spokesperson, Attorney Barry Gutierrez, joins us now. Good morning, Attorney. Now, let's talk about Pulse Asia. In their latest survey, VP Leni Robredo was at 23% compared to frontrunner Bongbong Marcos at 56%. Could you talk to us about how the Vice President reacted to this last survey from Pulse Asia?
Honestly, I don't think she actually focuses on the surveys at this point. Her attitude is we are in the last stretch of the campaign. There are only 5 days until election day. So her focus is really on maximizing the time left to talk to as many people as possible, to inspire our millions of volunteers to continue their house-to-house campaigns and their individual efforts at convincing people to support her within their own networks. So, the surveys tell us one thing. They're a snapshot of what the situation was like in mid-April. But since then, a lot has happened. We had that 400,000 plus rally in Pasay. We had a series of big rallies in different parts of the Philippines. And of course, the continued efforts that are really heroic in proportion on the part of volunteers who have taken it upon themselves to campaign for Leni Robredo and ensure that she gets victory on May 9.
Now, the latest survey showed a 1% decrease from the previous one, and Pulse Asia says this is insignificant because it's within the margin of error. But why do you think the Vice President was not able to further her increase in numbers despite the seeming swell of support shown during her rallies? Because there were already some big rallies in her campaign at the time that this particular survey was taken.
Well, a lot of people have already called into question the veracity or the accuracy of these surveys, or as to whether or not they capture the existing sentiment. Pulse has already responded. I'm not an expert. I'm not a statistician. I'm not a pollster, so I can't really speak as to this point. But I think that definitely there is a disconnect between what we're seeing in terms of numbers in the Pulse Asia survey specifically and what we're seeing and experiencing on the ground. A lot of people working in the campaign have been very, very clear. This is the first campaign that they have seen this level of volunteer engagement, this level of energy. People actually spending their own money, taking up so much of their time to actually participate and campaign directly for VP Leni's presidential bid. So I'm as confused as everybody else. The Pulse numbers tell us there has been no movement, but that is certainly not what we have been seeing and experiencing on the ground.
Right. Now, as you said, some statisticians have said there may be problems with the methodology of Pulse Asia survey. And one of the things they said is that some sectors are overrepresented and other sectors are underrepresented. What do you think about that?
Well, as I said, I'll leave the discussion on methodology and sampling sizes to the experts. I am not definitely an expert on polls or on sampling or on statistics. So they have their own conversation going on. I've seen several people who are experts in the field come up with their own position regarding Pulse Asia's methodology. I've seen Pulse Asia's defense, and to the credit of both sides, these are all, I think, professionals who are quite honestly trying to capture what we are seeing in the elections and make a prediction as accurate as possible as to the outcome. But that said, all these are simply tools to determine or try and predict the outcome. They will not determine the result of the election. So some people are saying maybe it's no longer surveys that are more accurate. Maybe we should look at other metrics like Google Trends, like which apparently have been fairly successful in predicting the outcome of elections in other countries. But regardless of the tool, the point remains. These are attempts to predict the outcome, but at the end of the day, the outcome will be decided by people deciding to go out and vote on election day, and that's where our confidence lies. We feel that the volunteers that have rallied around VP Leni, their energy, their commitment, not only to vote themselves, but to convince others and to ensure that others vote for her on May 9 will actually spell the difference and make a big difference on election day itself.
Now, just yesterday, Pulse Asia President Ronald Holmes told us here on The Source that, he said, well, the surveys include sentiments of voters who do not attend rallies. Are you in any way recalibrating your strategy given these numbers, and does this survey in any way impact your focus?
Well, the house-to-house campaigns and the market campaigns and the person-to-person, tao sa tao, puso sa puso strategy that we have been adopting over the course of the last few weeks is really intended to capture people who do not attend the rallies. And also remember, the Vice President herself has made several appeals for supporters to try and encourage people who have not gone to the rallies, people who remain unconvinced, who are still on the fence or undecided about the candidate they want to support, and invite them, bring them to the rallies. And this has been a core part of our strategy from the start. We believe that the Vice President herself is the best reason for people to vote for her. So long as people are able to listen to her, to interact with her, to hear what she has to say, they will come away convinced. So unlike other campaigns, which I think seem to have made a point to try and keep their candidate as far away from the public eye as possible, our strategy has been the exact opposite, because we feel that the more people know VP Leni, the more they will be convinced to actually support her, and that's really the intention going into the last days of the campaign. That's why she is hitting the road to go to all these provinces in the last few days. Yesterday, she hit 4 provinces in Western Visayas. Today and tomorrow, she'll be in Mindanao, where she'll go on a tour of, I think, another 4 provinces. So that's really the key. That coupled with people's campaigners going out on their own, I think is really the key to achieving a positive result on May 9.
Attorney, over the past few weeks and the past few days, the Vice President has received endorsements from celebrities and various groups. How have these, or how will these affect the decision of voters, you think?
Well, we think that they will certainly provide a big boost, because remember, it's not just an endorsement coming from celebrities. Celebrities, for the first time ever, I think, have gone out to campaign house to house for VP Leni. There have been a lot of instances over the course of the past weeks where people in the entertainment industry, artists, have actually gone themselves to campaign directly for her in various neighborhoods and various communities all over the Philippines. So we feel that the celebrity endorsement in general, coupled with this more face-to-face, very personal effort to support the vice president and to campaign for her and to convince people to vote for her is definitely going to have an impact in bringing her numbers further up and ensuring that she gets the necessary support on election day.
Right, Attorney, we're going to be taking a short break. Please stay with us. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Do stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Vice President Leni Robredo's spokesperson, Attorney Barry Gutierrez. Attorney, hello once again. Now, President Rodrigo Duterte has said that he will not endorse any presidential bet. So mas mabuti bang walang in-endorse ang Pangulo? What do you make of this? And do you feel that this validates the opinion that the president doesn't want to endorse his daughter's running mate?
Well, I'll say that it's certainly strange that even though his daughter is running as the partner of one of the candidates, that he's not endorsing. But definitely it's his own choice. We respect his decision, and at this late stage, I think that ultimately people will decide on the basis of other things apart from the endorsement of anyone, including the president.
All right, let's talk about the Iglesia ni Cristo. Yesterday, the big news was, INC decided to endorse Bongbong and Sara. And in every election cycle, it seems to be that the INC endorsement is one that's very sought after. What is the impact of this endorsement on your camp?
Well, in 2016, the same thing happened. They did not endorse VP Leni, and she still won the election. So it's something that it has happened before. We are actually used to being in this position, and it's not something that we're overly concerned with. We respect their decision. It's their choice to actually, make the same in the same way that other people within within other religious groups, the Catholic Church and evangelicals, have seen fit to actually express their support for VP Leni and Senator Kiko. So it's really something that is just one of the things that happens in an election. We really did not support, and it's something that we were able to live with successfully in 2016 and with this election.
Right, so some say that the INC endorsement seals the win for BBM and Sara, but I guess you don't agree with that.
No, definitely not.
Okay. Now, with regard to unity talks, as of this week, I'm guessing wala na talaga nakikipag-usap from your camp to discuss a last-minute unification talk.
We have not been talking to any of the camps for quite a while now, and as you said, with only 5 days left until the elections, it's very unlikely that that anything will still happen. Although, this is the Philippines. 5 days is still a substantial amount of time, and stranger things have happened in our history. So we're not closing the door to it. Although, as you said, we are no longer pursuing any active efforts in that regard. Although the Vice President has been very, very consistent in saying he remains open to conversations with other people. But the focus right now is still strengthening our own campaign, finishing this strong, and ensuring that we get the vote out on election day next Monday.
All right, so on the Vice President's part, if ever, it's something that she's still open to. Now, Attorney Barry, let me ask you, does VP Leni have a plan if ever she loses the election?
Honestly, Ria, we have not considered the situation where she loses at this point. The focus is really on doing all we can until the end of the campaign, ensuring that we come out strong on election day and that our volunteers are able to mobilize and get out the vote. And, at this stage, we are still confident that we will be able to pull off the victory on election day. So, quite honestly, there has been no conversation on plans regarding the possibility of not winning on Monday. That's a bridge that we will cross when we get there.
All right. If ever, a Robredo loss happens, do you think she can, or do you think that a Robredo loss could lead to a stronger opposition? And would the vice president still be a major voice of the opposition then?
I think that whatever happens, whether it's a victory or not a victory on Monday, the energy that we have seen in the past months that has coalesced around VP Leni's campaign, the volunteer engagement, the citizen participation, I don't know, I think the thirst for new politics and something better in our political system is something that will persist beyond these elections. I think we have been witness in this campaign to the birth of a new political movement led by ordinary citizens, and then that will definitely be a force after the elections, whether it's in partnership with the Robredo administration or as a force that will work to ensure accountability and transparency and better governance regardless of who is in Malacanang.
All right, Attorney Barry, really just a few more days left in this campaign. Ano pa ang balak ng Robredo camp in the final stretch of the campaign? And also, what is your reaction to the refusal to a one-on-one debate?
Well, there's only a few days left, so we will be continuing what we have been doing in the last few weeks. VP Leni's schedule, as I mentioned earlier, has been pretty punishing. She is going to maximize the remaining time by visiting as many provinces as she can, talking to as many people as she can, and of course, inspiring our volunteers to really double down and escalate their efforts to on the house-to-house campaigns and their efforts through their own networks to encourage people to support her. So that's what we will be seeing. Of course, the meeting de Avance will be on Saturday in Makati, and we expect that this will be a huge event. So far, the largest turnout was in Pasay with over 400,000 people attending. We expect to break that record on Saturday, and I think it will be a massive show of force to demonstrate just how dynamic, just how strong, just how widespread the support for VP Leni and what she stands for is in our country. Now, with respect to the refusal to debate, well, we wanted to give the Filipino people a chance to see all the candidates speak and answer questions, because the 9 other candidates have already done so. They have been interviewed, they have participated in 2 COMELEC debates, they have been able to articulate their platforms, answer questions about their track record, and so on. And it's unfortunate that up until the last minute, the supposedly leading candidate in the surveys refuses to actually engage, refuses to actually face the music insofar as this is concerned. And I think that is not a loss to VP Leni or to any other candidate. That is a loss to the Filipino people who are deprived of the opportunity to actually see the true worth and the true value of all the candidates in that particular context.
All right, Attorney Barry, maraming salamat. That was Vice President Leni Robredo spokesperson Barry Gutierrez. Now, coming up, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno says he is unfazed by his lower ranking in the latest Pulse Asia survey, where he slid to the 4th spot with just 4%. That's half of what he got in March. Aksyon Demokratiko Chairman Ernest Ramel joins us live after the break. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. Our source today, Aksyon Demokratiko Chairman Ernest Ramel. Sir, good morning and thank you so much for being here. Now, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno dropped to 4%. Senator Manny Pacquiao replaced him in the 3rd spot in the latest Pulse Asia survey. What do you think happened, sir?
Well, first, I find the results highly improbable because it also coincided with another survey that came out almost on the same date that they conducted their survey from 16th to 21st of April. And may I refer to another survey done by Tangere with 2,400 respondents at the same date, around April 19th to the 21st, where Mayor Isko is at number 2 with 20%, and Vice President Robredo at 18.25%. And I think that's the numbers that Pulse is showing is highly improbable at this point.
Do you think that the Easter Sunday press conference might have affected the numbers? Was that a good move, or was it something that backfired for Isko Moreno?
I don't think it backfired. In fact, it fired up the base of the campaign. And also, I think those who reacted against Mayor Isko are also already those who are against him. So these are of course, the supporters of the vice president. And it was just but natural for them to react negatively against him on social media. So I don't think it backfired. In fact, our base has gone out and also campaigned house to house, going from markets to different areas where people converge and talk to people and switch them to Mayor Isko.
Now, there's been a lot of talk around Pulse Asia's methodology, especially over the past few days. Can you talk to us about Mayor Moreno's reaction to it, and is he also doubting Pulse Asia's methodology?
Well, to be honest, we've been pointing that out. Even our campaign strategist, Lito Banayas, pointed that out, that there may be a problem to how they do or conduct their surveys, because they outsource their surveys. It's not Pulse Asia themselves who does their own. So he has pointed that out a few weeks ago. And for me, I just don't want to look at it. And we're referring to other internal numbers that we're seeing. And we're also referring to Tang in a survey, who has consistently put Mayor Isko as a more viable opponent vis-a-vis the frontrunner.
Moreno's campaign manager, Lito Banayo, who you just mentioned, he earlier told media that it was the good survey numbers before the filing of candidacy. Like, that was one of the reasons for Isko Moreno deciding to run for president. Why do you think now he's doubting the numbers now that he's trailing behind?
Well, it's, again, during the course of, after the filing and everything, there were a lot of intervening occasion or events, so to speak. Now, so I think, again, as Mr. Dito Banayo said, there are things that change over the course, and including that of course, the different combinations that came out after the filing, Sara Duterte not running, that affected, of course, the standing of our candidate. However, having said that, I'm still referring to other figures that we also see, that's not being made public. That shows a different story, And I don't think, for the life of me, that Mayor Isko is rating 4%. We've been out for a while. We've been going around, and what we see on the ground is very different. Just like what the vice president spokesperson said, they see different things on the ground, and we also feel and see the support of people towards Mayor Isko. So although we don't produce big rallies, we tend to just go on barangay, covered courts, court the voters from there. We don't really spend much for the rallies. We don't boss supporters to our venues. So, but still, the support that Mayor Isko is getting anywhere and everywhere he goes is so heartwarming and so strong.
Sir, are you still relying on the silent majority? And if ever, how sure are you that they can turn around the results of the elections?
Yes, we still believe in that. I think on May 9, Mayor Isko will pull up a big surprise. Let me, put the light on when he was running for mayor. He was near the elections. He was third on the survey, a far third against the then mayor, former President Erap Estrada, and he won that elections surprisingly by getting 51% of the votes, coming from 20%. Also in Pasig, there was this survey May 4th to 8th near the elections, where Eusebio was leading by 62 to 38 to Mayor Vico Soto, but a different thing happened on election day. It was Mayor Vico Soto who got 63% of the votes, vis-a-vis Eusebius 37. So these things do happen. And we feel that we have the silent majority on the ground that will surprise and give mayors come from behind victory.
All right, Ernest, thank you for your time this morning. That was Aksyon
You're welcome.
Demokratiko Chairman Ernest Ramel. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. You're watching CNN Philippines.